man was driving down a back road late at night when he spotted a teenage girl walking alone, shivering in the cold. He pulled over and asked if she needed a ride. She quietly nodded and gave him an address a few miles away. She barely spoke the whole drive, just stared out the window. When they got to the house, he turned to tell her they'd arrived, but the passenger seat was empty. Confused, he knocked on the door. An older woman answered. When he asked if the girl lived there, the woman sighed heavily and said, "You're not the first person to bring her home. My daughter died on this road 20 years ago. I've never seen a ghost, by the way. I asked my mom if she'd ever seen a ghost. So I was home for Christmas, and we were just eating Triscuits in silence, and I was staring at the floor. And I was like, well, here goes nothing. You ever seen a ghost?" And my mom said, yes. She said, outside you and your brother's room, I used to see the ghost of a little girl in a Victorian nightgown. And then she would walk down the hallway, and then she would evaporate. And then I would hear your brother's voice in the middle of the night, screaming, "Boo, I'm here." And then he would get up and walk to your room and open your door and stand there and watch me while I slept. And then he would go back to his room, and I would hear him screaming again. And then he would get up and do it again. And I think he did it so many times that night that eventually I just got up and walked to his room and opened the door and turned on the light, and he was sitting there in bed, playing with his little toys. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Nothing." And then he went back to his room and I never saw him again. A friend of mine was house sitting for an elderly neighbor. The house was quiet and she thought she was alone until she heard the faint sound of someone humming in the kitchen. She called out, but no one answered. The humming stopped for a moment, then started again, closer this time. Her heart raced. She grabbed a flashlight and slowly walked into the kitchen. Everything was normal, except the cupboard doors were all open, neatly arranged, and on the counter lay a single folded note that read, "I've been waiting." She swears she never touched the doors, and the neighbor, when she returned, said no one had been in the house for weeks. It's past midnight. You're lying in bed, phone face down, trying to fall asleep. The house is still. Then you hear it. A single creak on the staircase. You hold your breath. Another creak. Then another. Slow, deliberate, like someone is walking up. You tell yourself it's just the house settling, but the steps are too steady, too spaced. They stop halfway up. Silence. You wait, straining to hear. You grab your phone and open the camera, flipping it to selfie mode so you don't have to lean over the edge of the bed. You tilt the phone toward your open bedroom door, and in the grainy glow of the screen, you see a figure standing on the stairs, frozen, staring straight at you. You're lying in bed, the kind of silence so deep you can hear your own pulse. You're just starting to drift off when you notice it. Breathing. Slow, steady, heavy. It's not yours. You hold your breath, straining to listen. It's coming from the dark corner of your room. You fumble for your phone, lighting up the screen. Nothing there. The room looks empty. Your chest loosens. Maybe it was your imagination. Then your phone vibrates in your hand. One new voice memo recorded 2 minutes ago. Confused, you tap play. It's the sound of you sleeping. And right next to the microphone, that same slow, heavy breathing. You're in the shower, warm water running over you, mirrors fogged, everything muffled. You hear the faucet click. Someone adjusting it? You're alone. Must have been the house settling. Then you hear a faint tap, like fingernails against glass. You freeze. The sound comes again, steady now. You tell yourself it's just the water. A shadow moves across the fogged mirror, your reflection, but off. Too slow, too deliberate. You take a step back. The temperature drops. Cold water hisses down your back. A whisper curls through the steam. I see you. You rip the shower curtain aside. Nothing, just the bathroom. But when you look in the mirror, your reflection isn't alone. You're lying in bed, eyes wide, heart thudding in the silence. Everything feels normal until you hear it. A faint scratching from under the bed. Not the floor, but the bed itself. You tell yourself it's nothing. A mouse. But then the scratching stops. And a whisper. Your name, soft, drawn out, almost like it's breathing through the cracks of the floorboards. You don't dare move. Your blanket shifts. You try to shrug it off, but then a cold hand grazes your ankle. You jerk back, and the air grows heavy, as if someone is leaning over you. You snap the light on. Nothing. No shadow, no hand, just your room. But the whisper comes again, from inside your closet this time. Don't turn around. You're hiking alone as the sun dips behind the trees. The trail is quiet, too quiet. Then you hear it. Leaves crunching behind you. You stop. Silence. You turn and catch a pale figure staring from the shadows. When you blink, it's gone. Your heartbeat thunders in your ears as you keep walking, faster now. Up ahead, an old stone bridge looms. Tiny footprints circle it, fresh in the mud. They stop in the middle like something vanished into thin air. A whisper brushes your ear. Your name. You don't look back. You run, branches clawing at you, roots tripping you. Even now, when you're safe at home, you swear you hear soft footsteps outside your window, following you. You're in bed scrolling on your phone when you notice something outside your bedroom window. A dark shape standing perfectly still, staring in. You freeze, convinced it's just a tree branch, but then it moves, slowly sliding from left to right, keeping perfect pace with your every glance. Heart racing, you flip off the light and pull the curtains shut. For a moment, silence. Relief. Then your phone buzzes. A message. No sender. Just one line. Nice try. I can still see you. I set up my tent deep in the woods, miles from the nearest campsite. The fire crackled, shadows dancing on the trees. Around midnight, I heard footsteps circling the tent. "Hello?" I called, but only silence answered. I unzipped the tent, thinking it was another camper, and saw a pale figure standing just beyond the firelight, completely still, staring. When I blinked, it vanished. The next morning, I found tiny footprints all around my tent, and they led into the forest, never coming back. Like and subscribe for more.